Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's your boy Pup. We're back for a new draft league. Of course, I just ended the ICP, gotta go on another run, gotta, claim another championship. I mean, I'm in the playoffs of 4 other leagues right now that you guys will hopefully see in the near future. But we're starting off a new one in the VDL. We're in the Jirachi Division Wi-Fi League with a ton of other great coaches. A lot of people that you guys might know from the LPDL. Tog, Matt, Tom are all in here, and Vortex as well. And then, a couple of other familiar faces from past leagues. We got Onesie Bennett in here that we just beat in ICP semis. 6 Foot Hacks is in here as well, along with some other super fun coaches that I haven't had the pleasure of playing against yet. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Hopefully we'll be able to do all right. I want to, defend my ICP championship. I'm feeling like I'm playing the best Pokemon in my life right now, so hopefully we'll be able to cruise through this league, and my team is absolutely insane, so I definitely believe it can happen. If you guys do enjoy all the draft league content, though, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because I really, really appreciate it. Let's get straight into what I drafted for my team. So this team is crazy. We had the 10th overall pick out of 16 coaches, so it wasn't great. The top of the board, stuff like Qianpao and Zamazenta Crowned were allowed, along with Dragapult. Those are the top 3 picks. And then it's a high tier Terra-ish league, so we have 115 points and Pokemon 13 and lower can Terra. So a couple of the other common Terra captains, we saw Primarina, Mamoswine, Sinistra, Hydreigon, Okidogi, Gyarados. Some of those other really strong Pokemon can be Terra captains. So it's a high power level for this one. And that's not particularly my strong suit, hasn't been in the past, but I do have a really, really strong team this time, so hopefully we'll be able to take it. So once we got to the 10th pick, there were 3 Pokemon that I was thinking. Well, I was really hoping Meowscarada would make it here, and I was working with the Onesie Bennett and 6 Foot Hacks on our teams, and Leo ended up taking Meowscarada, which is fine at 7th. Fair, but then by the time that the 10th pick got around, there were 3 Pokemon that I was really looking at this point. Tarpagos is someone that I used in Showdown Leagues a while back in the PSL. Did great with that Pokemon, absolutely loved it. Haven't used it on Wi-Fi at all. Palifin as well, got a chip in the GWA with Palifin. And then Gouging Fire, which is also just an incredibly good Pokemon. Just played it in the ICP finals, and it's a baller Pokemon. I've used it in the past as well. So when it got to that pick, I felt like, there's a Pokemon out of these 3 that might not be the most powerful out of all of them, but is something that I've wanted to use on Wi-Fi for a long, long time. So I picked up Tarapagos. This Pokemon's absolutely insane. One of the best spinners in the format. Definitely not the best, but a nice spinner with a Terra Shell ability, meaning that we are taking half the damage in once we're at full HP. So we always get basically free setup, whether we want to go Rock Polish or Calm Mind, Meteor Beam, anything like that. And this guy's stats are just insane. The bulk is 95 HP, 110 defense, 110 special defense, on top of having a 105 special attack. So the stats are just great across the board. Even 85 speed isn't too bad when you have a Rock Polish to be able to boost it up. And that is a set that I brought a ton in the PSL. So you guys might see that again. But yeah, this Pokemon is just the ultimate, can do whatever, has a ton of coverage, anything that you might expect. Earth Power, Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Aura Sphere, Dazzling Gleam, Dark Pulse, all of this stuff. You even have Stealth Rocks, Toxic, Thunderbolt, all that, but you're really just clicking Terra Starstorm, so free. And obviously just gets free rapid spins all the time. This Pokemon really loves to run its heavy duty boots. I also like Power with the Meteor Beam. I like Choice Specs. I like a lot of different stuff with this. I like to use it a little bit more offensively than you see other people using it as. A lot of people, set up Calm Minds and, try to win from there. I like to just go specs and just nuke people, or go Rock Polish, Meteor Beam, and absolutely just sweep with this Pokemon. It's going to do a ton of work for our team. I'm really excited to be able to do it. So then, since there's 16 coaches, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2. There were 12 more picks before it got back to me. One of those was Lantern, which was quite interesting, but it is what it is. A couple of really good Pokemon that I was thinking about getting went off the board, but there was a couple Pokemon that still stayed on the board. At this point, Palifin and Gouging Fire are still here. I'm like, well, those were going to be my first round picks. Those could have been first round picks. So might as well pick one of these guys as my second round pick. So I decided to go with the Palifin, and in the hero form, this Pokemon's crazy. The big downside with 0 to hero is that you kind of have to lead the Palifin because he doesn't do that much until you switch him out. I mean, he still has the same, base 100 HP, base 100 speed, which is solid. But once you get that switch out, it gets 160 attack. Even the defenses are really solid. Special attack, you can definitely work with that. This Pokemon's just absolutely insane. I used it in KCDL, Ubers. That was really fun. Used it in GWA. Used a lot of really fun sets back in the day in the GWA season. But this guy, a lot of the time, you are just like flip turning, jet punching, wave crashing right through the teams because no one can switch into this guy unless they are immune. Even resist do not take this on well. If you guys have seen what I've done with Basculin, Palifin just does it but better. But for 3 points, like a Basculin is still pretty solid. But yeah, this guy can also do a lot of other fun stuff. Bulk Up is a really good set with Encore as well, something I have ran in the past. Talked about Special with like Hydro Pump plus Boom Burst, which is really, really strong. You also have stuff like Draining Kiss, which is fun. Coverage on the physical side, you don't have too much besides your jet punches, your wave crashes, but you do have close combat or drain punch. You have acrobatics, which is actually usable if you need to. Throat chop, if you need that, like probably a body slam, something like that. It's just a really good Pokemon. I really wanted to come out with some nice offensive presence in this because I feel like I'm going to have to take over some of the games very offensively with just the level of competition in this league and the high power level in general. And being able to have really, really nice, reliable priority and very, very strong priority is going to be insane to make sure that we don't just get swept through by some of the crazy Pokemon. Then, we have a long time to wait until it gets back to me. A lot of fun Pokemon Wince. I was thinking about Gliscor, setting up some hazards to bring in with this guy. I, thought about grabbing, there were a ton of other great Pokemon. I thought about grabbing a Terra Captain. At this point, I'm thinking like maybe Galarian Zapdos looks insane. There's other Terra Captains that look great as well. Terra Lycanroc Dust also looks pretty great. But then Gouging Fire got back to me. I'm like, well, this is a Pokemon I'm going to take in the first round. I might as well take 3 first-round picks. So now we're rocking Tarpagos, Palifin, and Gouging Fire. Somehow, this Pokemon's just absolutely insane. Look at its stats. It's incredibly bulky, just like the other guys on my team. Very bulky offense so far, even though it's hyper offense-ish, but it's so bulky. None of these guys are going to die in one hit to anything, basically. And they're just going to be able to either get the setup that they need or just be able to clean, because every one of these guys can run Choice Band or Choice Specs. Every one of these guys can run some sort of setup variant and just like clean. It's going to be insane. So Gouging Fire is great. Fire Dragon type a lot of times does like to run that heavy duty boots, so you don't have to worry about rocks. When we have Terapagos, we can always get free spins off, just like very for free. So we might not have to run it. So we can go booster for speed or attack. We can go Choice Banded. We go, a number of other different things you can try on this guy. But yeah, just a great Dragon Dance sweeper. You're always going to live any one hit. We saw it in the finals of ICP. Gouging Fire lived Adamant, Ogerpon, Cornerstone, Ivy Cudgel, which I just thought was insane. I would have lived that into Quick Attack as well. But Dragon Dance into anything. Like Heat Crash is very popular because Gouging Fire is very heavy. You can also run Flare Blitz if you don't care about that recoil. You have a Morning Sun to be able to heal yourself up by 50%. It's just beautiful, especially if you run this with a Sun team, which, spoilers, we are not, but we probably could run some Sun some of these weeks. That would be healing up a ton, getting your Photosynthesis and powering up that Flare Blitz or Heat Crash. Just insane. You have stuff like Earthquake as well, Outrage, Dragon Claw, other sorts of coverage options if you need to hit like some sort of fairy. You got Iron Head. You have Burning Bulwark as well, your Protect that also gives a burn on contact, which is just great. This Pokemon has a ton of fun stuff going for it. You can even run like Dragon Dance, Dragon Tail sort of stuff, which is a set that I've seen in the past. I think I've ran it in the past, actually. Just an absolutely incredible Pokemon. With 105 HP, 121 defense, and 93 special defense, you would think that this Pokemon is just kind of bulky, especially with that reliable recovery. But no, 115 attack just makes it an absolute nuke. And with the speed and attack boosting, it can be crazy. But we might see this guy be more defensive for me. Being able to very freely get rid of rocks opens this guy's defensive capabilities up for me. And since I am running so many offensive Pokemon on my team, like you will see later, it may end up having that defensive role. Now, it also might just have a super offensive role and just Dragon Dance and then just sweep all over everyone. But who knows? Now, so I had a short list. So my short list, I don't have it with me. I was drafting this at work. We had a live draft, so 3 minutes for each pick. And yeah, if you got skipped, you had to wait until the end of the draft. So that kind of set off everyone's plans. Everyone was more or less following their plans. I was definitely not. I was just going with whatever was the best available. So my plans, I had Terapagos round 1. Thought about like Tinglu, Chiyu, stuff in the round 2. And I was thinking of this Pokemon in round 3. I really did not think it was going to make it all the way to round 4. Another Pokemon that we faced in the ICP finals and could have easily swept us if it clicked Swords Dance when I swapped around, because I played around that guy very interestingly. But a Pokemon that I've used very well in the past. We also used it in KCDL, just like Palifin with Terra. Used it in a couple of other leagues as well. That's going to be Iron Boulder. This Pokemon is just absolutely incredible. The 124 speed is the best thing that's showing to me, but also 120 attack. I mean, all these guys are just hitters. They're crazy hitters. This guy maybe not as bulky as the other ones, but 90 HP plus 108 special defense is not bad. 80 defense means you're always going to be able to take a hit anyways. But yeah, Swords Dance into close combat, Mighty Cleave, Psycho Cut, Earthquake, all this stuff makes this Pokemon just a huge threat. Even stuff like Quick Attack. A lot of times on this guy, you see booster speed outruns basically every Choice Scarfer that you can imagine, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. But you also see stuff like Life Orb on this guy being really, really strong. Lumberry, if you don't want to get burned or anything like that. There are plenty of options for this Iron Boulder. It's just an incredible Pokemon. It really is, and it just hits like an absolute truck, just like everything on my team. I mean, like the lowest attacking stat on my team is Tarpagos with 105, which is just insane because that Pokemon hits like an absolute truck as well. There's going to be no team that's going to be able to switch into the combination of these 4 Pokemon. But let's talk a little bit more about Iron Boulder. Really like that Rock Mighty Cleave. We saw in the ICP with Ogerpon, I was able to spam Ivy Cudgel versus so many teams. I didn't even need to run much coverage during those weeks. I could do whatever I wanted, really. It's just like run Ivy Cudgel plus Spiky Shield, blah, blah, blah. Well, Iron Boulder, you just run Mighty Cleave and you cleave through every single team. If there are Pokemon that resist, you have very, very strong coverage options. Like we talked about with Close Combat Earthquake. Psycho Cut's a nice stab, although you don't use it too often because it is weaker than the other stuff and doesn't have like great offensive synergy with Rock, except for into like fighting types. But yeah, just a very, very strong Pokemon. The speed control is what matters for us here, because we were looking a little bit slow. 91, 85, and 100 beforehand. So being able to have this and the booster speed potential is just great. And I mean, the other Pokemon, Ging Fire, can also be booster speed or Dragon Dance up. Palifin has great priority. Tarapagos can Rock Polish or Rapid Spin to boost its speed. So we have a lot of speed boosting potential on the team. It's really, really nice. And I think this Pokemon is just absolutely going to destroy some people. Now, next up, I wanted to grab something a little bit more defensive on my team. I'm just like churning through my points at this point. So there's a Pokemon that I've used quite often on Wi-Fi especially. Just a great defensive backbone for a lot of teams. And with how bulky offense my team is, I'm really weak to Toxic Spikes or just like Toxic in general. So I really wanted to make sure that I had a grounded poison type. I think you guys all know where this is going. We drafted Pecharunt. This Pokemon's just insane. I can also Spin Block, although I don't have great hazards on my team right now. But this 160 defense, just incredible. I'm like just drafting all the Pokemon with the biggest stats, which I think, you know, is a real good strategy in this day and age. But Malignant Chain for this guy is just incredible. 100 base power, 50% chance to badly poison the target, which also means 50% chance to confuse the target, which is great. You know, it does play into a lot of Covert Cloaks, a lot of stuff like that. But a very solid Pokemon in that regard. You can also just click Toxic if you want. You have Hex as well, Shadow Ball if you want that. Parting Shot, you get yourself some momentum, especially if you're running defensive. Recover for free, Nasty Plots, even Foul Play, Destiny Bond. All this stuff makes Pecharunt just a great utility Pokemon and just a great wall in general. Only thing it doesn't like are Steals, which absolutely get destroyed by Gouging Fire. Even Iron Boulder destroys Steals. Palifin has close combat for it. Terapagos clicks Earth Power, clicks Flamethrower into that. So I have a lot of great support for it. And it does help cover my Terapagos, who doesn't want to take those fighting type attacks, after that Terra Shell's broken. Really good switch in for all of that stuff. So it's a really good Pokemon on my team. I love being able to Parting Shot out into some of those big hitters. This guy has an 88 speed tier, so like kind of slots in interestingly with these guys. But you know, I'm not going to run speed investment. I'm going to get those Parting Shots out when I need to, and then just bring in a Choice Banded Palafin and get a KO with Wave Crash every single time. That's exactly how I need to play Pecharunt, and I think it'll work perfect for that role. Being able to eat up every single hit. Now this guy, he can run a wide variety of different items. A lot of times you see heavy duty boots, just because this guy does not like to get chipped down. You do have like a recovery with the recover, but you hate to get chipped down, especially if you're EVing for some specific Pokemon. But we do have free spins, like I talked about with Terapagos. So you might see Shucca Berries. My team is decently weak to ground at this point. You also could see Pyapa Berry, whatever that is, the resist Psychic Berry. Just try to beat some of those common resistances. If the Psychic type Pokemon comes in, you have that, and you just click Shadow Ball into it, you can be in a really good position. So this Pokemon, it just really fit in well with this team. I did not think it was going to drop to the 5th round. A lot of times you see this guy go in like the 3rd, maybe 4th, but in the 5th round, absolutely crazy. Definitely a side effect of the live draft. Everyone's just trying to follow their plans. And then next up, I'm still burning right through my points. At this point, I had like 30, not even 30 points out of my 115, and I still need 5 Pokemon on my team. Did I have 30 points? Yeah, I had just over 30 points, but that's not very many, because Pecharunt is half of that, like half of the budget that I have remaining anyways. So next up, I still want to grab a heavy hitter, because there were so many good Pokemon still on the board at this point. There's stuff that went this late, like Ursaluna Blood Moon, just an incredible Pokemon to go that late. Iron Bundle is still on the board. Hoopa Unbound, a lot of just really strong stuff. Regular Ursaluna, Volcarona, Zapdos, yeah, just a ton of great stuff still on the board. But I decided to grab a Pokemon immune to ground, since that's a huge problem for my team. My team does look very physical with Palafin, Gouging Fire, and Iron Boulder as those huge breakers on the physical side. So I want a special breaker and just a Pokemon that I can reliably also pivot around with, get that Volt Switch momentum going. So we picked up a Thunderous Therian. Used this Pokemon a couple times, maybe not to the best of my abilities, but I feel like I can do a lot of work on this team. Slots in a 101 speed tier with 145 base special attack. That thing is incredible and has lots of great coverage as well. Like I said, we don't deal super well with ground types. We just click Grass Knot into them. We have Thunderbolt, Volt Switch. We have other coverage with Sludge Wave, Knockoff, Flash Cannon, Psychic, all this different sort of stuff if we need it. Nasty Plot, just absolutely incredible for us, and provides a lot of good utility as well. We can U-turn out if we need to, not clicking Volt Switch against a bunch of ground types. We have Taunt, Prevent Rocks, Prevent Recovery, all that sort of stuff. We can run this thing physically as well. Bulk Up, Acrobatics looks really, really strong. If I could have gotten this guy as a Terra Captain, I would have, for that strong, like Terra Flying would have been incredible on this Pokemon. Fortunately, it was 1 point over that threshold, which I think is fair, because this Pokemon would be incredible. But this gives us that ground immunity. Also gives us an electric immunity with a Volt Absorb, which is really nice, just because I don't want to get pivoted on over and over, because my team is a little bit susceptible to that pivoting option. But yeah, this Pokemon just looks absolutely incredible. Maybe not the most bulky thing on my team, definitely the most frail out of everything so far, but I don't mind that. And also a Pokemon that really likes to run heavy duty boots, because you don't want to lose that HP. But honestly, we got Terapagos to spin, like I've talked about. We have other hazard removers, maybe one hazard remover later, which helps out a little bit. But if everything else my team is incredibly bulky, this thing doesn't need to be. I don't need to run heavy duty boots. I can run Life Orb, I can run Choice Scarf, Choice Spec, just absolutely break holes through everyone's team. with this Pokemon and just go crazy with it. So next up on the squad, I'm chilling with like less than 20 points at this point. I'm not going to grab something super high in the points, but there's a couple Pokemon in the lower tiers that are just like complete steals. There's a couple Pokemon at 2 points that I'm thinking like complete steals. Tatsugiri is down here for 2 points, like a great spinner, a water immunity, like a nice dragon type that drops Dracos. If you want to switch in with a bulky water type, you get plotted on and then Draco just destroys you. That's a Pokemon I was thinking about. Malamar as well, a nice dark type to be able to spam knockoff with Contrary. Can go insane. But I thought I needed just a little bit more speed than both of those guys. And at 2 points, this Pokemon being available, just insane to me. We grabbed Sneezle. This guy at 115 speed, which is great. And Ice Shard priority is just really, really nice. Only thing bad about this guy is that you click triple axle and you can miss. And if you guys know me, you know that I miss triple axle because it's just how it works. Somehow in ICP finals, I did not miss all of my moves. I hit like 4 out of 5 70% accurate moves. It was insane. Just never have ever had that happen to me before. But Sneasel is crazy. I'm probably going to sash it. I mean, very high power level here, so never want this thing to get one shot. But you just spam knockoff, triple axle, and Ice Shard. It's just really strong. If you have to deal with steals, you have low kick or brick break. If you need fairies, you got poison jab. This Pokemon just goes great. You click Swords Dance and you just absolutely blow through a bunch of Pokemon. Inner Focus means that you can't be flinched, can't be intimidated, which is really nice. You also have Pickpocket, so if you use up your Focus Sash or whatever other item you're using and hit by contact, then you just steal their item. You can steal Scarfs, steal, you know, just a bunch of other items from Pokemon. Just really be a nice disruptor and do a ton of damage. Really just here for that knockoff support and that fast speed tier, really making people think. And then that priority is really important to our team as well. Since I have all those bulky Pokemon, those bulkier, kind of slower offensive Pokemon, when I bring stuff down very low or when people run Focus Sashes against me, which will happen because that is a good way to deal with my Pokemon, I'll just be able to bring in my Sneasel and be able to click Ice Shard, pick those Pokemon off, and just be in a really, really good spot with this strong Pokemon. I love it. Very, very frail, of course, but for 2 points, 115 speed and 95 attack on like triple axle, Ice Shard knockoff, some of the best stabs in the game to have. Just like incredible value at this point. Now I'm chilling with, you know, how many points do I have? I've got 19. No, I can't math. I have 17 points at this point. So I'm gonna grab my last big hitter. I haven't grabbed a Terra Captain yet, as you guys can tell. So I need to grab something that's gonna be really nice. So I'm looking at still Terra Galarian Zapdos. Looks really strong in that 13 point tier. And I'm also looking at Terra Lycanroc Dusk, but we already grabbed a very strong and fast rock type, so I don't think I need that. I already have a couple forms of priority. So Lycanroc is off the board for me at that point. And then it's really just what's the best Terra Captain available at this range? What fits my team the most? Do I need more speed? Do I need more bulk? Do I need more setup? Do I need more priority? Do I need more wall breaking power? So I eventually decided not to go with the Galarian Zapdos, but to go with another flying and fighting type, because Flying Stab is just so free to click. And with Terra, this Pokemon has free setup opportunities, and it's just an incredible Pokemon in general with a great speed tier. Ended up grabbing Terra Hawlucha. Now, with Terra, this guy just gets insane. Obviously, just a great Pokemon in general before that because it has the Unburden ability. Now, we're not supporting it with any terrain or anything, but being able to click like Close Combat with a White Herb, being able to proc your Unburden like that is just incredible. You also have like Terra Stellar, Terra Blast with the White Herb can also proc that, can be really, really nice as well. You have tons of setup potential with this guy. You can run more defensive Terras and just like click Encore, Sword Stance, goes incredibly crazy, bulk up as well. But I also like the defensive capabilities of this guy. Just a little deceptively bulky. You would normally think of this guy as just like a glass cannon. But 78 HP, 75 defense, 63 special defense is not terrible, especially when you can change your type and you have reliable recovery in Roost. Can be a defogger. We can defog against Golden Go with Mold Breaker, which is really nice. So we have a ton of good options with this Pokemon. Not really sure what common Terra types I'm going to run on this guy for sure. Really going to be super matchup dependent. I do not have a Fairy on the team, so we might see that happen just so I don't get spammed on with Dragon moves. And if I need to move this into like that more defensive role to be able to deal with dragons, it is what it is. But this guy can go offensively as well. My opponents are never going to know what they have to prep for, because if I bring this guy offensively and they think that I need a defensive, Terapairy for their Regidrago or whatever, I just set up a Sword Stance and sweep through their entire team. I mean, what can they do about that? This Pokemon just has so much setup capability, and even stuff like Mirror Herb doesn't really phase Hawlucha because I get that speed boost even after I lose that item. So I'm never really worried about people stealing that like I might be with stealing Gouging Fire Dragon Dances. Hawlucha is just going to do incredible damage with Acrobatics, especially. I mean, 110 base power after we lose that item. Or we can click Brave Bird with 120 base power. Close Combat's also 120 base power. And you do have some decent coverage down the board, but if you really need some coverage to, deal with some sort of Fairy type, some Electric type, something like that, you just click a Terra. You click Terra and you just absolutely blow through people, and Hawlucha is going to do a crazy job doing that. So now I only have 4 points going into my last two Pokemon. There's one more Pokemon in the 1 point tier that is just an absolute steal. I thought about going back to back with Gumshoos, one of those small point Pokemon that I really love using, and just did an incredible job with me against the Onesie Banette in the ICP semis. And then I also thought about Greedent, Amber's Gravy's favorites. That also just does a lot. It has a great bulk. When I was prepping for finals, I was like, this Pokemon probably not worth 1 point. But there's a Pokemon in there that in normal leagues is probably closer to like a 5-6 point Pokemon at least, and fits my team decently well with Stealth Rocks and a decent 95 speed tier, a great Choice Scarfer, but also a really strong Eviolite user as well with momentum for me, and just a lot of different potential for this guy, a defog blocker as well. We got Primeape. Now this guy is great. Defiant, like I said, blocks defog anger points. If I take a critical hit, I get max attack. I've used this before to check 1 or 2 specific Pokemon that I will be trying to check in this league. So if you guys are curious, go check out my PSL videos from a long time ago, because Anger Point will be coming probably once this season. And then Vital Spirit. Yeah, don't click Rest when you have Vital Spirit, because I actually did that last time I had Primeape, and you guys will probably see that soon. But yeah, this Pokemon can be incredible. It has Rage Fist like Annihilate, so you take take a couple hits. When you have Eviolite, you're bulkier than a normal Annihilate. Even with 65, 60, 70 defenses, it's pretty solid. So, I mean, you bulk up, you rest, you Rage Fist, you Drain Punch through all these Pokemon. It looks incredible. You also can just be a Choice Scarf set because you have 95 speed, 105 attack. Just a solid Scarfer for 1 point. You click Close Combat, U-Turn, Earthquake, Ice Punch, Fire Punch. The Rage Fist is still applicable. And then Stealth Rocks is really nice to be able to have on this Pokemon as well, because at this point, I only have 2 Hazard Setters. Terapagos, which does not want to set Stealth Rocks, and Primeape, which also does not want to set Stealth Rocks. So that's the one big weakness of my team, is I have no hazards at all. But that's okay. We don't need hazards on this team when I'm just going to blow through everyone without the need of hazards. But it's really nice to be able to have a low tier option that's going to be able to do that. I think Primeape is going to come more often than you would think as a 1 point Pokemon, especially when I have all these other heavy hitters. You wouldn't think Primeape would come to any game. I expect it to come to at least like 2 out of the 8 games, which will be fun. And then last but certainly not least, the Pokemon I've seen a couple of people use in the GWA before. Normally it's a nice Terra Captain, but it has great stats just like everything else on the team, and I needed a Pokemon that's a lot more specially defensive because nothing on my team loves the special hits. I mean, Boulder kind of will take them. Tarpagos obviously takes hits anyways. But this Pokemon, it takes hits decently well. We don't have to worry. It has 4 times rock weakness, but we don't have to worry about boots every single time. So we grabbed Articuno here, doubling up on the ice types, tripling up on the flying types, although that doesn't matter at all, really. But this Pokemon, 125 special defense, 90 HP, 100 defense, just a great defensive Pokemon in general, just big stats, which is what I'm looking for in a 3-point Pokemon. We click Freeze Dry, Hurricane, U-Turn. This guy has dual screens for my team as well, Roost, Roar, can be able to deal with a lot of different things. Not going to come to an insane amount of games, but it will come to like 1 or 2, and people are definitely counting it out. for sure. It can like honestly check some crazy Pokemon. It's like a solid Torn switch in. It can deal with Spectrier like not that bad. It can switch into a Latios every once in a while if I need it to. So it's a Pokemon that can, you know, do a lot of things, wear a lot of hats for my team, switch into a lot of those big Pokemon. So I mean, maybe we'll be able to use that Pokemon more often than I think, but it's just a great special wall for the team, and you know, just be able to get that U-turn momentum out into my big hitters. That's really the idea of this team. I grabbed all these giant hitters and then the couple smaller defensive Pokemon we have, or the lower tier Pokemon we have. You click a Volt Switch, I click U-turn, go back out to those heavy hitters and just absolutely destroy. If one wall breaker goes down, we have two more to replace its spot. So I'm like a Hydra with this team. Like you take out one Pokemon, just like two more are gonna come after you. There's nothing you can do just with this overwhelming offense. I think we probably have one of the best teams in the league. I don't think any other team has 3 first-round picks on their squad, and they shouldn't. I don't know how they let this happen. Very happy that they did, because this is just like probably one of the best on paper teams I've ever drafted. A couple huge weaknesses, right? So if you're a fellow VDL coach, don't watch this part of the video. My team does not like switching into ground types, of course. 3 ground weak Pokemon, 3 flying types, yes, but Hawlucha, Zatara, and Articuno is one of those. So not really switching in the best to all that, especially because Articuno gets dropped by my rock type attacks. And then my hazard control, well, not hazard control, my hazard game is just incredibly weak. I have 2 rockers, 0 spikers, 0 T-spikers. I do have an absorber, which is nice. I don't have sticky webs. I thought about grabbing Ariados down there for those couple of points, which could have been very nice for me. And you might see me do that in the future if I feel the need for that. But I don't think I need webs when I have so much speed on the squad. Great like Scarfer or booster potential for every single Pokemon. A lot of good priority as well. So I don't think I need that. And then with the crazy wall breakers, I don't think I need any sort of, you know, spikes or rocks in all these games. Does let opponents, you know, get away with no boots, but we'll punish that by running Stealth Rocks Primeape or Stealth Rocks Tarpagos one of these weeks. Tarpagos does not need to be the star of the show on this team, because we do have Palifin, Ging Fire, Boulder that can all, you know, carry the load for it. So I never have to run Tarpagos as like this has to be setup set, or has to be, you know, just spinning set, has to be Spec, Terra Starstorm to break through teams. Doesn't have to be confined to one role, so it can do that defensive Pokemon for me if I need it to, which I definitely will need to do in some of these games. But yeah, I'm really excited for this season. It's a fun format as well. So obviously we have the format of all these high tiers and decently high tier Terra, but it's also a Swiss schedule. So we're gonna have weeks 1 and 2 mapped out, and then after that, I mean, it's gonna be 8 weeks, but the other 6 weeks are going to be you're matched up against other people of similar record of you, which I think is really fun. So if you're doing really well towards the end, you're going to be fighting all those great coaches. And if you're in the playoff race at the very end, you're going to be fighting for a playoff spot, like basically winner takes all in the end. So it's going to be a really fun time. And there's a lot of great coaches in here. Just a lot of guys. Let me run down the entire list just to shout out all these guys. Owlmancer, Niv, Onesie Bennett, Shady Surge, Tom, that common boy, 6-foot hacks, Big Will, that one guy, me, Stall, the Archdon, AP, the Vortex, Matt, and Roki. These guys are all incredible coaches, and I've checked out basically all of their content at this point. And we're not going to have an easy game. Hopefully, my team will be able to carry me into this one, but I really want to take some back-to-back finals. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. Huge league for me. This will take us into ZA for sure, and I'm really excited about that. And we'll see what happens with Draft League once we go into ZA. Maybe talk about more in the future what's going on with all that Pokemon Champions, if it'll come out soon, when it will come out. We'll see a lot of competitive Pokemon if I'll play a lot during that, you know, downtime from October to probably January-ish when ZA comes out. But we'll see. Hope you guys do enjoy the new Draft League, though. I'm really excited for this one. Hope you guys are as well. I'll see you guys in week 1 next week. Peace out.